In my third area, I was serving in the Dresden area, and we had this wonderful senior member in our ward. And she was just the cutest thing ever. And she would always give us lots of clothes that she had. She'd always give us lots of food. The Germans are very, very particular about staying warm in the winter, which you think would be a given. But they're always trying to give you extra stockings or extra jackets or anything like that, because if you are keeping your body heat up, then you're not going to get sick, and then everybody's going to be happy. So, but I remember this one time in particular. I was serving in Dresden, like I said, and I was living with 3 other sisters at the time. I had my companion, and then I had another sister missionary and her trainee, and so a sister who was brand new on the mission. And we went over for an eating appointment, which is just basically we went over to have some dinner with a member, and then to be able to share a little gospel message with them, just to make sure that they're doing okay, and to make sure that they're doing all right in their life, and see if we could help them in any way, and just to make friends as well. But we went over one time, and this sweet member decided to feed us. It was definitely salmon and potato salad and maybe something else with greens. But I remember in particular that this member was so excited to feed us that she had mostly gotten the food cooked a little bit through. And at that point on my mission, I was well over a year into the mission, and I just knew, okay, you just eat the food that somebody gives you. You don't even worry about anything else. And then she gives us this food, and it's honestly just kind of tough to get through. And the potato salad was a little bit more runny than you would expect. But we ate it, and she was happy, and that was the goal, was to just make the member happy. And so we thought, okay, no big deal. We're going to give a spiritual lesson, and we're going to go now. And she comes back and she says, actually, do you want more food? And the general rule for missionaries is don't ever deny somebody food, because for them, that's like Christ denying their food. And nobody wants that. And so we said, okay, even though we really didn't want to, but we knew it was the polite thing to do, and it would help us to gain her trust and gain her friendship, and to help fulfill our purposes, and just being there for her and just being her friend. And so she proceeds to make more salmon. And we wait, and we're chatting, and we're thinking, okay, like, we'll just eat it really fast, because we're also eating all the time as missionaries and getting a little bit full. And she comes back, and she gives us all this salmon. And then for some reason, she had to leave. And so she leaves us, and we notice that the salmon has pretty much just gone from the frozen to the thawed section, that she didn't really quite cook it, that it was still pretty raw, but it just wasn't frozen solid anymore. And we're sitting there thinking, how are we going to eat this food? And I remember looking over at the girl who was brand new on her mission, and she looked at her trainer and she thought, I cannot do this. And her trainer and I looked at her and we said, well, you don't really have a choice, you have to. And so instead of just taking little bits at a time, we basically just took whatever we could, and we swallowed it whole. And that is the reality of mission life sometimes. A different story, actually, is one of the rules of the mission is that you cannot leave your mission. You are given certain boundaries, and you absolutely cannot leave. But we had a investigator. We had someone that we were teaching in my second area. I was in the area of Zwickau, and he lived in a different area, and we only had permission to teach him because he was going to school in the area that we were living in. And we had permission to do that because he was always there, and he was more often in Zwickau than he was in his own home called Werdau, which at the time was part of the Frankfurt mission. And we had asked our mission president if we could go. And so, and we thought that he said yes. And so we're all psyched up. We're going to go meet him. We're going to go show him the church in Verdal because we want him to start going to church. And we want him to start learning more about the gospel from people that he could be around and people that he could relate to. So he just had easier access to the gospel. And we go on a Tuesday and we meet the elders, and it's great. We think we made a lot of progress with this investigator. And we come back and the mission president is calling. And I answer the phone and he says, "Oh, hello, Sister Flake. I just read your email." Okay. What did I say in my email? And he said, "I just read that you are going to Verdal this week, and I did not give you permission to go to Verdal." And I, as respectfully as I could, I responded and I said, "President, you did give me permission to go to Verdal." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." Apparently, we had permission to contact the elders and not to leave the mission and go there. And so that was kind of embarrassing. And I remember afterwards, my companion and I had to leave, and you always pray at the door before you leave. Just kind of a normal thing to do. Just always ask for those extra blessings before you leave. And we tried to pray, and we couldn't pray because we were laughing so hard at the fact that we not only disobeyed our mission president against our own personal knowledge of what we were doing, but we broke one of the biggest rules of the mission, which was to not leave the mission. And so we were just laughing, and we couldn't even finish our prayer. And the next day, we head to an area called Chemnitz, and we're having something called zone training meeting. And the mission president just happened to be there that day because he was conducting personal interviews for the missionaries. And we walk in, and he's this, big, stocky German man, and he just loves to call people out on their mistakes. He just loves to just be that blunt person sometimes. And he walks in and he goes, "Oh, Sister Flake and Sister Wasden, my rogue sisters." And everybody started laughing, and they had no idea what was going on. And that was probably one of the greatest times of my mission, because I was able to find humor in something that I did wrong. But it worked out, and we didn't get into any other trouble after that. So it was good.